till I can't no more.
I got the horses in the bag. Horse stock is a tag.
Hi everyone, welcome to Protocol 36. Today's video will be about Peter Parker's source of income, his job, in Spider-Man PS5. Now why is that important? Well, we know that Peter needs to pay his rent when he's not out fighting crime and beating up supervillains. And in the first game, his place of work was a massive deal, so much so that Insomnia refused to reveal where and who Peter was working for in any of the marketing until the game was officially released. Now, if you don't remember the first game all that well, or you haven't played it for some reason, beware the spoilers, even though the game has been out for almost 2 years. But in the first game, Peter worked for Dr. Otto Octavius in his company called Octavius Industries as a research assistant. However, it was later revealed that Otto is suffering from a neurological disorder, which led to Peter and Otto working on 4 mechanical arms, which would help Otto and other people with similar or different types of disorders. Unfortunately, the neural implant, which was connected to the arms, affected his brain, causing him wanting revenge on the amount of times Norman wronged him when they were younger, and also shutting down the grant funding earlier in the game, causing him to become Dr. Octopus, almost destroying the city, almost killing Norman and Peter himself, even though he knew he was Spider-Man. Which then Peter stopped him, locked him up, which also caused his company to close down as revealed in the DLCs. Now, at the end of the game, Peter told Mary Jane that he might work as a chef after the incident with Dr. Octopus, but assuming that he was joking and that he wants to return to his passion of science or even his old jobs. What will his next job be in the sequel? Excluding pizza deliverer, of course. One could be returning to the Daily Bugle as a photographer, since the reason why he quit was because of J. Jonah Jameson ruining his reputation and printing lies about him as Spider-Man. But now that Jameson isn't at the Daily Bugle anymore, podcast show titled Just the Facts with J. Jonah Jameson, though there is a chance that that could happen, I don't think he will return to the Daily Bugle as a photographer, or even as the editor of the newspaper science section, which was a job Peter worked briefly in the comics. However, this Spider-Man seems to want to be a scientist more than anything. If he did come back to work for the Daily Bugle again, it would be cool to see their version of Eddie Brock, since we know that he works at the Daily Bugle and we also have the symbiote as teased in the post-credit scene of the first game. Another job could be becoming a teacher. As one of the backpack collectibles, we see Empire State University ID badge showing that he became a teaching assistant during one semester. He talked about how he didn't have enough time to go through with it, but he did say that he wouldn't mind teaching again and could see it as a possibility in the future. Peter Parker being a teacher over at his old high school at Midtown High was one of my favourite aspects of the character in the comics, and is my personal favourite professional job for the character in his adult years. So I would love to see Insomniac's Peter become a teacher. However, I think that is unlikely. This Peter seems to be a scientist at heart, and I don't know if they could make it work in terms of plot, but if they choose to go with it, I wouldn't mind it at all. However, other organisations Peter could work in are Horizon Labs, Stark Industries and Oscorp Industries. Peter worked over Horizon Labs in the comics, specifically the Dan Slott run of the Amazing Spider-Man comics. I worked for Max Modell, which he also used to make his new suits and gadgets for his work as Spider-Man, similar to what he did in the first game, or at least tried to do before Otto found out and started helping him out. I believe that this is a good possibility for the next game. The only thing that tells me it wouldn't happen is because it wasn't established yet in this universe, but it doesn't mean they can't introduce it. For Stark Industries, we know that this Peter received a job from a version of Tony Stark. However, we don't know anything about this version of Iron Man, assuming that Marvel's Spider-Man and Marvel's Avengers are not connected whatsoever. probably is making and selling weapons, which I don't think Peter wants to get himself involved in. With Oscorp, I don't know after the events of the first game, Peter even wants to work for Oscorp because of everything Norman has done, the pain he caused towards his friends Martin Lee and Doc Ock. If Peter did work for Oscorp, however, and that's a big if, it would make sense how the symbiote would attach itself to Peter, as we know that the symbiote is somewhere in Oscorp. But other than that, I don't think Peter would work for Oscorp, logically, after the horrific things Norman did. But if I had to choose what Peter's next job would be, I would pick the Daily Bugle or Horizon Labs. As for the Daily Bugle, there aren't many options for Peter to work as a scientist, and since J. Jonah Jameson isn't working there anymore, it would probably make him want to go there again. As in the comics, whenever Peter was low on cash, he would sometimes go to the Daily Bugle to sell pictures. Not to mention, it would make sense for Peter to go back for the story if Insomniac wants to go into that direction. And for Horizon Labs, it would be cool to see Insomniac introduce that into their Marvel universe. Since Slott worked a bit on the first game, there might be a chance that he could come back to help on the second game, but right now it's too early to tell. However, what do you guys think? What do you think Peter's next job would be? Comment down below and let me know. If you enjoyed this, please like, and one more subscribe to begin Protocol 36.